Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Philly StarCraft League Tournament, the summer opener. We have the first of a best of three between Rooster and RoNeStar. That name, when I look at it, for some reason I see Boner Star. But spawning in the upper right hand corner is our pink Protoss player, RoNeStar. RoNeStar is on Team Bacon Gaming. His style is New School Macro, and he is a Diamond level Protoss player. Spawning all the way across Overgrowth in the lower left hand corner, wearing the blue war paint, is Rooster. Rooster tried some cheese against a Protoss opponent twice in the last series, and it did not end well for him. Let's see if he continues this trend or if he goes for a more macro-built game. It looks like our Protoss player is saving up money to wall in his natural and take an early expansion. That drone's going to take quite a while to bring that pylon down. Looks like this is the first casted round of the losers bracket. Rooster having been bumped down after his fight against Char, and RoNeStar bumped down after his fight against New Neighbor. I was not able to watch or cast those games, but I'm sure they were very exciting. We have the early expansion coming down for the Protoss player. No answer from the Zerg yet. His spawning pool is finishing. I imagine he's going to crank out a few Zerglings to put some harassment on, though he's floating more than enough minerals to start an expansion. There is a pylon in the way. Go ahead and just make the hatchery of unit squares back. You won't notice the difference. The Protoss player taking a lead in his expansion. His economy is going to have a very sharp boost over the Zerg. Always a good situation. Rooster takes my advice from a previous match. When you are blocked at the natural, just go to the third. A very good move, and I believe it will pay off for him in the end. Zergling's coming up to check to see if that wall-in is secure and tight, but it looks like there might be leaks. Zergling leaks. Is there anti-Zergling leak spray? Can you get wall-in sealed against Zerglings? Every time I put up a wall they end up in, and they take out all my probes, and it tends to be a rather short game. The Zerglings are going right for the cannon. They could scoot by that cannon and go right into the main, but it looks like they'll bring the cannon down without a cancel. 150 minerals gone for the Protoss player. He's going to snipe this Artosius of pylons, and there will be no answer after that. Another pylon comes up. He's pulling the probes. He's hoping to get a good surround and take out these Zerglings, but at what cost? He's losing quite a bit of mining time, and as you can see, the Zerg player is taking a lead in gaining minerals. He's sniping another pylon that will power down a gateway. This one zealot is hoping to come out and save the day, but he's stuck in warp between iron here. The probes finish up the Zerglings, and they go to harvest at the natural instead of moving all the way back into the main. This saving transfer time and getting him back, get his economy back on track. This one drone is still working on this pylon. Looks like he's about to get it down. As these drones scoot by, heading on their way to the third, I believe the Protoss player might have gotten a glimpse of that from his blocking pylon, and probably notes that there is a third down, and will begin to take preparations against it. This Overlord, going uncontested, gets a couple shots from this angry-looking photon cannon, but what can it do from there? He's stuck where he is. The forge is unpowered. Now, at this point, the Protoss player should be looking into getting that forge going and getting +1 out for his zealots. +1, as I said earlier, is very powerful against unupgraded Zerglings. 2 hits from a zealot will wipe out a Zergling. So, zealots trade against Zerglings much better in every scenario that you have superior upgrades. The Overlord going to this standard position here above this, I don't know what this is, some sort of cooling tower. Overlord's going to take position at all key locations around the map to make sure he has excellent map vision. This is a third base coming down, and we are going to see a macro game from Rooster. Now, Rooster played a very strong macro game in his last series at the beginning against Char. He moved out with Zerglings and Hydralisks, and he made sure that his opponent could not ever take a third. This is a very strong and effective strategy. Once he moved into the opponent's base, having four bases back of his own, he lost his army, but taking the Protoss army with him. When the Protoss attempted to counterattack, he overwhelmed him with numbers and was able to seal the first game. RoNeStar attempting a different type of wall-in, but it should be effective, especially with a sentry here to block off what's left of that little 2-unit square gap. Chrono Boost coming out, getting more probes for the Protoss player. We have a Phoenix coming in. He's going to start clearing out some of these pesky overlords that are reporting back on their little two-way Play School's My First Walkie-Talkie to the Zerg player, telling him exactly what's going on and exactly what to prepare for. The Zerg player has chosen a tech path. He has built Hydralisks. We see the +1 melee coming with a +1 armor. An interesting choice considering he has decided to go with Hydralisks. +1 coming down for the Protoss player. He has finally powered up that gateway, or that forge, apologies. Robotics Bay going into Tech 3 units very early, a good choice for RoNeStar. This will make him much more effective against Zergling Hydralisk timing, as neither of those units have sufficient armor or enough hit points to survive such an attack. The only saving grace of that unit type is mobility and an extreme amount of DPS output. Warp Gate technology finishing, but only one Warp Gate to speak of. Phoenixes are going around poking, deflating these overlords. This is the point where the next decision kind of will choose the path of this game. Will Rooster decide to take a 4th expansion and tech up to Spire? Yes, he does take a 4th expansion. Will he tech up to Spire, or will he go beyond Spire to the next level of upgrades? At this point, I believe it is either in the best interest of RoNeStar to begin planning his attack or to take a 3rd base. A Zergling running around to make sure the 3rd base has not been taken. We've got a couple Phoenix hanging out there hunting down overlords, but it looks like they ran out of gas. It would be kind of cool to see them shoot one of those little birds flying around. 4th base being built. We have full saturation on the 3rd, full saturation on the natural, and almost full saturation on the main. Let's check out the income between the two. Gaining about 500 minerals more and 200 gas more per minute is the Zerg player. This will help him immensely in the upcoming fights. The Phoenix fly over and take a few shots at an overlord. They find one who's kind of creeping out on his own. The Hydralisks have spawned and will start bringing down these Phoenix. Now, if he can catch a couple of the Hydralisks out on their own, the Phoenix do extra damage to Hydralisks, and he can pick them up and clean them up very quickly if he catches them alone. The economy is starting to really kick in for our Zerg player. He's starting to pop out combat units, 8 Hydralisks at a time with movement speed. He is still upgrading the melee attacks for his units. With hardly any Zerglings on the field, I'm wondering if he is planning on teching into Ultralisks very quickly. 2 Colossus here with extended thermal lance almost finished. 20 Zerglings coming up, teching into Hive back at the main base, and covering the 3rd with Creep Boop. It looks like we're going to see an aggression come out of RoNeStar. He has quite a few Hydralisks. As long as they get a good concave and don't try and meet them at a bottleneck, those Colossus with the just finished extended thermal lance will not be nearly as effective as they should be against this composition. That is an awful lot of damage. A few Psystorms would clean up that swarm very quickly, but Psystorm has not been researched yet. In fact, I don't even see a Twilight Council. He's going to have to rely on the unit composition he has, and he needs to make some more. This one... we do have more gateways. Is there a proxy pylon out on the map to back up this attack? No, there is not. Now, we've got a lot of damage with these Immortals and with this Colossus, but there is no proxy pylon, there's only one Zealot, and there's no anti-air. At this point, the force fields are going to have to be absolutely beautiful. The Zerglings get into the back of the base. They make... How'd they get there? What did I miss? Okay, well, the Zerglings are in the back of the base cleaning up the probes. And how many units have we lost? Oh, that's not it. Workers killed 10 probes. He snipes the Nexus in the main, and he's going to start chewing down this production. There's a swarm of units here on the Protoss army. They've got some force fields, but will it be enough? They're wasting a lot of time burning down these Zerglings. He's trying to move into the main. As soon as the Hydralisks get their teeth into these units, we're going to start seeing the Tickle Cannons melt, and there are not enough Immortals to tank this damage. The Colossus getting several kills. Reinforcements coming in. 24 Zerglings. The Colossus have 18 and 11 kills respectively. They are doing a lot of damage. I am apparently making the game slower because I've got my computer set cranked too high. It's probably because I'm streaming at the same time. Zerglings cleaning up the main base. Still mining in the natural. 4 full base economy working for the Protoss player. These 4 Zealots are not going to do the trick. I think that is going to be enough to seal this game. Hydralisks moving in as counterattack. Still kind of curious how the Zerglings got in the main base. Must have just done a run by while I wasn't paying attention. Tickle Cannon ready to set up a wall, but will he? Ultralisks, there it is. This is why he was teching into +3/+3 for ground melee units, and the chitinous plating on the back with mutas eventually. I believe not only with numbers, but with tech. Rooster has played a very strong macro game, kept his opponent into 3 bases, and just generally controlled the flow of the game, making him react to all of his decisions, and RoNeStar moved out before he was ready. GG is called. The first game of the first round of losers bracket goes to Rooster.